A new member joins the party. Hey everyone, welcome to Prince of the Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 14 of Frieren. And yeah, last time we got a new party member. I already forgot his name. He's brand new. It's gonna take me a little bit to remember. I have trouble with that sometimes. Um, but he is a priest, and he is definitely going to be able to add a different type of magic, different viewpoint to things in the party. Now, he's only joining because he wants to find his friend, who he hasn't seen for like a decade now. His friend originally invited him to go on a journey with them, but he refused because of his desire to stay with his brother and everything. But now he's ready to go and at least find out if he's still out there. And so he's agreed to adventure with our gang for at least the moment. Though I'm really hoping it's going to be more permanent. Because I think we just could use more party members on the regular. Like, I like the dynamic between Frieren, Fern, and Stark. But I really do think this party should also evolve and grow. I think that would be more believable too. Especially if we started bringing in more people like that could kind of like compare and contrast with the members of Frieren's original party with Himmel and everyone. But I guess we'll find out for sure. We'll see how this goes. For now, let's just get into this. I know these pre-thoughts are short, but why waste any more time? There's not really much else I gotta say, so let's check this out, see what this episode has in store for us. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So these afterthoughts probably aren't going to be too long. Like, I feel like I'm not going to have a huge amount to say. It's fairly simple. This episode was about love. And it was about not entirely realizing love right away. And kind of like all that entails. Because like, first we start off with Fern's birthday. And she wants Stark to get her a present. And it's very clear why she wants Stark to get her a present. It is extremely clear that she has feelings for him. But like I said, I think she knows she has feelings for him. I just don't think she'd admit it. I don't think she's, like, ready for that yet. But I think she knows. Stark, meanwhile, is, as she keeps pointing out, stupid. And, like, he is. And I mean that in a loving way. But he's an idiot. I don't think he realizes he loves her, but he definitely does. It is entirely mutual. You can tell. And I like that this series very much follows the entire show don't tell rule with this, because it's like they have not needed to actually say anything to get that across. The way they act around each other, the way they react to what each other does, even just the way they look at each other, it's so blatantly obvious that they have this love for each other. And I know that I know this is like something I've talked about before, and I know like some people might get annoyed by it, but I'm gonna talk about it again anyways. This is why I kind of stand behind the idea that anime is always better than manga, in my opinion, from my perspective at least. Because I feel like, and I obviously haven't read the manga for this, but I feel like the manga would not have been able to get that across as well. Because with the manga being static images and everything, the nuance of an expression isn't as strong um visually, because the way someone looks is more than just the singular face that they have on. It's the way they turn their head, the way their eyes move, the way like micro expressions occur. And that requires, for the sake of fictional media like this, animation. It's something that you just cannot get in comics and manga. And this is why I've never been able to connect with comics and manga as much. I think this is the main reason. I've always kind of questioned like why I haven't been able to like find any emotion even during scenes that in the anime counterpart would get me super emotional. I use One Piece often as an example because it's just the easiest. And specifically the Robin's I Want to Live does nothing for me when I read it in the manga. But every time I see it in the anime, it makes me break down because of the voice acting, because of the visual expressions and how they morph and change throughout the way she's saying this, through the music cues and everything happening around it. It's like all of that is what makes me emotional. Just as much as the story, just as much as the character work, which Oda is obviously phenomenal at. It requires that extra stuff, for me at least, to become emotional and to become emotionally attached. And I think like a lot of the cases it is, even though I've questioned like why my mind works this way, I think part of it, and it's not all of it, there's definitely other reasons I just don't quite know, but part of it is definitely coming down to micro expressions, things that you just cannot get in a static medium like that. It's the way, again, the characters slightly move, the way their eyes and mouth twitches, the way their head turns slightly. Those little things just speak volumes if you know what to look for. And you see that in this episode with the way that Fern and Stark interact with each other. And you even start to see that with like the way Frieren starts thinking about Himmel and everything. Like, let me try to go back to it here. Da, 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 da. After Fern, when they're talking at night before, while they're searching and everything, she says to Frieren, I think it's very important to you. And you see it do a close up on Frieren's face looking to her. You see her looking, and you could tell from just the tiniest little bit there of that shot, even though that is a more static shot, you could see just the way that it moves combined with the visual and auditory cues of the scene. That's less of a micro expression moment. That's more of like because that's something that could be that expression can be portrayed in the manga, but that's more of the auditory side of things. There's a specific moment I'm trying to find here. Oh yeah, I think it's right here. I knew there was like a very specific moment I was thinking of. It was the proposal scene. When you see Himmel go down to get onto his knees, you see the way her eyes follow him as he lowers himself down. You see her head tilt up ever so slightly as her mouth opens agape. You see the surprise as her eyes slightly widen. It's ever so slight. The movements aren't like these heavy, intense movements. They're very slight, small movements. But you see like her expression and her surprise and her emotions in that moment. Emotions that she herself didn't even understand at that time. Emotions that she's only coming to understand now. And it like fades from that scene to her looking at the ring in her hand. And after Fern says, "Good thing you didn't give up," it shows Frieren slowly blink, look back to the ring in her hand, close it, hold it to her heart, and smile. It's this great moment of expressionism that you can show like the different moments. Like you could show like her hand closed around the ring on a manga panel, and then in the next panel show her holding it to her heart. It won't hit the same because you have to see the motion of her bringing that in, her expression changing, her eyes almost lighting up as she realizes how much she loved Himmel and never really came to realize that before his passing, and how much Himmel loved her. It's this moment that just really, really sells to me my viewpoint on this. And again, if you like manga, that's fine. I've always said this. If you enjoy manga, if you get a lot out of it, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm just saying this from my perspective. Like these are the kinds of reasons I don't get any kind of emotion from reading a manga. These are the reasons why I can't connect to a story and connect to characters while reading a manga. And why all of these little details, the auditory details, the visual details, the way things move, the way characters speak, the music that goes along with it, all of that is necessary for me to get connected and invested in a story. I can guarantee you 100%, if I were reading this in the manga, I would have dropped it. Because nothing about the story would have connected to me without these extra little bits. That moment in the first episode, when after Himmel's death and everything, you see Frieren crying at his grave and like regretting that she didn't get to know him better. What sold that scene for me, what made me cry, was her voice. You felt her regret and pain in that voice performance. The music playing along with it, that's what sold that scene. That's what made it emotional for me. It wasn't just because of what was happening, it was because of how it was being portrayed. The emotion comes from the voice acting and the music in that case. Not just the scene itself, not just the action of what's happening. Don't get me wrong, that's necessary, but it has to work together. All of that has to blend together, otherwise it just doesn't hold the same weight to me. And again, that's more of a me thing, but still. Also, I guess these afterthoughts haven't ended up being as short as I was thinking they were going to be, just because I've kind of gone on to this rant about this this topic. I was not expecting to do so. You see, when I go into these afterthoughts, I kind of just play it by ear. I don't script anything out, so it's like I don't know what I'm going to say ahead of time. I have thoughts in my head about like the episode and everything, but yeah. But yeah, this episode was definitely about showing the love connection between Fern and Stark, and comparing that to the connection that Frieren and Himmel had. And interestingly enough, it's kind of reversed. Because while Frieren was, in the dark about the relationship, how she was, not understanding it at the time, and while um Himmel understood exactly what the symbol meant, and he very much understood his feelings for her. In the current day, it's the opposite. While it's very clear that Fern understands her feelings for Stark, he's the one in the dark. He's the one who doesn't understand. It's kind of had a gender role reversal there. And I kind of dig that. I kind of dig that it's kind of the opposite of what the former one was. But at the same time, I I am pretty much 100% sure that Fern and Stark is going to sail as a ship because Frieren and Himmel didn't. What I mean is that Frieren and Himmel's relationship not sailing because Frieren didn't understand all of that prior is a major part of her character. And her entire character arc in this series, the entire point of everything she's going through, going along this journey again, the same route that her and her friends took pretty much, is so she can learn to understand people better. So she can learn to understand relationships, everything that she missed out on. She wanted to understand why she was so emotionally devastated at Himmel's death. She wanted to understand why his death made her so fucking sad. That's what her journey is all about. That is what this is going to lead to. I am fully confident that the end of this series, like the whole series, not just this season, but maybe this season. I mean, it could end up happening earlier than I would think. But by the end of this series, that's the point. Frieren is going to fully realize and acknowledge the love she had with Himmel that she was not able to act upon. And we're going to see in real time, she's going to make sure that Fern and Stark end up together. Because she's not going to want them to repeat her mistakes. She's going to want them to experience what she and Himmel never got the chance to. She's going to do her best as basically a mother figure to them to make sure that they get together. And yeah, it's just we already see how much Frieren has changed. How different she is than at the beginning of this journey. She's already growing. We see how much Fern has grown. We've seen Stark grow. It's very clear that this is the route they're taking. And I'm like all good for that. Because it's like that's where it should be heading. Because that's what this is about. This series isn't about cool magic. It's not about fighting demons. It's not even about the journey. This series is about relationships. Both the relationships that have been lost, both in terms of just like literally lost because of death, as well as lost because of the inability to understand what could have been and should have been at the time. As well as like the relationships that are here now. Familial relationships, friendships, and love. We're getting all of these relationships, and that is what the main focus of this story is about. And that's what it should be about. Because it's so fucking good at it. Like, seriously, the relationship aspect of this series is definitely its highlight. That's what keeps me coming back. The action and all is really cool. The magic stuff, really cool. Love it. Awesome. But the relationship and character drama and the development surrounding that, that's the heart and core of this series. And this episode is like a perfect encapsulation of that. It's like, yeah, cool. We saw a giant monster bird get decapitated and killed. Fun. We have a cool new spell for Frieren to have learned, where she's able to find lost artifacts. Awesome. This is all good stuff. It's all fun to watch. Cool shit is cool shit. It's great to see. But this episode was not about that. Those were secondary. The love and characters and, relationships that were focused on here was what this episode was all about. And it got me emotional. It got me like tearing up a little bit. I didn't like full on cry, but I was tearing up. Because it's like at this point, you absolutely like root for Stark and Fern. And not just because, oh, it's kind of cute as an idea to have them get together. No, because it's actually put forth efforts into making you understand that there is love here. Genuine love. And it makes it, despite being animation, despite being just a cartoon basically, it makes it feel real. With how well it's, yes, written, but also how well it's visually portrayed via those micro expressions, via the voice acting, via the musical score. All of this is what highlights how great this series is. And it's like every episode I watch, I can see more and more why this was nominated for Anime of the Year. And honestly, why I think, like, maybe it should have won. Though, again, some of the other shows that were on that list I haven't seen, so I can't, like, rightly say. But also, it's like, yeah, I'm not going to rant about why the Anime Awards in general are rigged or anything again here. I've done that enough. But, yeah, it's like, there's just those cases of this really, really deserves a lot more accolades than it got. It just deserves it. No matter how the other shows on the lists were, it's just like this one still deserves it. And I mean, it's exceptionally popular. The series did phenomenally, so it still has all of the fans' love and attention, for sure. Honestly, just based off of the like general fan reception I've seen for all of those shows, and all of the shows on the list, the ones I haven't seen, it's like, yeah, I still know how people have reacted to them. Honestly, Frieren has gotten a lot more praise than any of them, and that includes then the actual winner, Solo Leveling. And Solo Leveling's received a shit ton, but Frieren, like, was so insanely high regarded. It's like, I don't know if I've seen that in a long time, a series to be that highly regarded. Like, that was so exceptionally regarded. And Solo Leveling is still very up there, and I don't deny that, but Frieren, like, when that came out, and when that, like, especially when that finished airing originally, like, the amount of hype and excitement and, like, love that series got, again, is some of the highest levels of that I've seen in years for anything. Like, I think Dan was another one that was on the list, and it's like, that got exceptional reception, too. And again, Solo Leveling has as well. Apothecary Diaries, Delicious in Dungeon. I believe those were the other options on there. All of those have received great praise. But Frieren's praise was, like, next level praise. Frieren's praise was, like, practically Cowboy Bebop levels of praise. Just without, like, having the actual time frame of the amount of praise that has received. Because of age and everything. But that's saying a lot. That is, I am surprised I have not been spoiled on this series with how much people have talked about it. Like, Jesus. Of course, I haven't been spoiled on like Solo Leveling or others that much either. So, yeah. Either way, I like I said, I can't like rightly say like out of all of those what deserved it the most because there's multiple I haven't seen, but you know, I can still give my opinion that I found a lot more praise just online for this series than the others in terms of just what general public reception was. But yeah, um, this was a great episode. This really like drove home the main theme of the series, and I think was just really investing to watch. So tell me in the comments below what you thought, and thank you so much for tuning in to these not short afterthoughts. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.